All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. Another high profile artist has decided to sell off their music catalog. This time it's Paul Simon, who is selling, basically, he's selling back his catalog to the label that he was a part of for, I don't know, like a half a century. Although he did, I think, go over to Warner Brothers, but I think then Warner Brothers sold the catalog back to Sony Music, which was Columbia, which was CBS. So a lot of different names for it, but now it's Sony Music Publishing. Sony, of course, is a company not based here in the United States, but anyway, that's another video. Paul Simon, though, has been compared to many of the finest songwriters of all time. And I would say his music is as valuable as anybody I can think of, including Bob Dylan, who was on the same record label with Paul Simon. There's a writer from the New York Times, though, that disagreed with that and said that Simon was basically a footnote compared to the likes of Dylan and Springsteen. And I'm thinking to myself, do you know anything about music? Now, I also watched, full disclosure, I did watch the video that Rick Beato, the great Rick Beato, did about this topic, and he was completely incensed with this guy. And the complaint that us older dudes are starting to make a lot is, do you know anything about what you're talking about? Now, I'm not Rick Beato. He is a music guy like through and through. Not only does he know the music itself and all of these different legendary performers, but he knows he knows the instrumentation. He knows the guitar. He knows the chords. He know, you know what I mean? He's a music professor basically, whereas I'm just some guy observing music in real time, supposedly, right? So Paul Simon, though, to say that he's a footnote, then there's this other little thing that Paul Simon was a part of called Simon and Garfunkel, all right? And that little Graceland album he put out later in his career. But I mean, his catalog is deep, it's rich, it's interesting. Paul Simon dabbled with a lot of world music, and his writing to me is far more accessible than a guy like Dylan. But you'll say, okay, Dylan, he's been covered by so many people. Right. He's been covered by a lot of people because his versions of songs aren't always the best version of that song. I know it's a, kind of a hard truth to admit, but yeah, I'd rather hear Guns N' Roses doing Knocking on Heaven's Door than Bob Dylan. And you can go down the list where a Dylan song, All on the Watchtower, for instance, covered by Jimi Hendrix, is far more interesting and listenable and accessible than the Dylan version. Nobody is putting Bob Dylan forward as a great vocalist. And if you're doing that, then you're kind of silly. And some would say, well, Paul Simon's not much better. Look, Paul Simon is a decent vocalist, and he had the smarts to team up with one of the greatest singers in music history, and that would be Art Garfunkel, who never gets his due when people talk about singers. I mean, listen to Bridge Over Troubled Water sometime. You want to hear a vocal performance? Yeah, you're not going to hear that kind of stuff today. No auto-tune like 50 plus years ago. And Art Garfunkel is just making those little hairs on the back of your neck just boing, they just stick right out and sometimes just fall right out. But to say that Simon is going to be a footnote compared to Dylan in like 100 years or 200 years, that is one of the dumbest statements I've ever heard in my life. It's just ridiculous. And that's somebody who either doesn't know music or has this sort of groupthink bias. The people they hang around with, they talk in the same manner and they talk about the same people all the time. And they tend to be snooty and look down at you. And they do this. They take the glasses and they go like that. They go, yes, I'm smarter than you. So in any event, Dylan sold his catalog. Okay. And Paul Simon now selling his catalog. And there'll be others. And I'm sure it was a big payout to Paul Simon. The label who had the music already still has the music, and now they can do what they want. They want to put a Paul Simon song in an advertisement and make millions and billions of dollars for their record label. Now they can do that. Whereas Paul Simon would probably say, no, I do not want, Still Crazy after all these years in a Hallmark commercial. I just don't want that. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't care. All I know is these older folks are taking care of their estates and their families probably for at least next 100 years, maybe longer. And we'll see. Will it pay off? I believe for the record label over time, because it's infinity, basically. Time will just continue till the earth explodes. So, or we get wiped out by something, and then somebody finds, a vault underneath the earth, and they dig up Paul Simon's music and they realize how amazing it is. But the record label building and the people and everything will be gone. So, anyway, I am way off on a weird tangent here. I'm sorry to do that, but you have to kind of think ahead, and I was thinking way too far ahead. So Paul Simon, definitely one of the great artists of all time, and he will never be a footnote so long as smart people are around to defend his honor, which myself and Rick Beato, and I'm sure a few other people will do that for as long as we can. All right. See you soon. Thanks for watching.